What did you say?
Viewer discretion is advised. Go where no man has gone before. It'll make your head spin. Real bad.
I guess the tablet don't want to do the intro. We'll try it one more time. Today the tablet hates me. Take 3. Third time's the charm. Broadcasting from 67-degree thunderstorm Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, home of not 1, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. And as we all know, the flashing G stands for your host, Grumpy. And our show is brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. That's it. So, no, you didn't lose sound. The goddamn tablet's got a mind of its own tonight. I think it's telling me it's slowly dying. And at 20 years old, I really shouldn't complain. But it would be like losing a dear old friend.
Wow!
Man, I'll tell you, them pictures brought back memories. I remember country roads like that back in the day. I remember going down country roads on my uncle's farm-all tractor. Because a lot of the roads at that time were just like that. It was like somebody drove through an opening in a bunch of trees and called it a road. Matter of fact, I saved them. But boy, brought back a lot of memories. Especially going down some of them roads with one twin over here and one twin over here sitting on the fenders of the tractor. Talk about blue-eyed blondes, one on either side. And boy, I'll tell you, they were tempting. They were tempting. And they were little teases, too. They really were. And absolutely identical, except, and this is how much of a tease they were, the one had a little red birthmark on her butt cheek that was about the size of a dime. That was the only way you could tell these two girls apart. The only way. They were a mirror image. Their voices were a mirror image. their mannerisms, you could not tell them apart until one day the one hiked up her goddamn shorts and underwear and showed me the birthmark on her butt. And she said that was the only way that her mother could tell them apart when they were babies. And the placement of that birthmark was pretty close to being right at the center of the butt cheeks. Talk about teasers. Oh, my God. Oh, I miss them too. Matter of fact, there were several nights that we slept up in the hayloft. And, oh, God. The only reason I never did anything was I was afraid that her father would sneak up the goddamn hayloft steps. Oh, they were teasers. Oh, God. I missed the two of them. I lost track of them. Well, let's see. Once I graduated high school, I really didn't spend any more summers out at my uncle's farm. But boy, oh, man. And right up until we parted company, oh, they were worse teasers at age 17 than they were at 12 and 13, I'll tell you. Oh, man. And, boy, I'll tell you, old Spectrum took care of Grumpy yesterday. I hadn't realized my internet was starting to slow down until I went to download a shitload of PDF court files. And it was like taking forever. So I did a speed test. And I'm supposed to be at 1 gig. I'm looking at the speed test, and it's barely 500 megs. So I called Spectrum, and they said, we'll get a serviceman right out. He was here in less than an hour. Jose. Great kid. Probably in his early 20s. He came in, he tested the router, he tested the Wi-Fi unit. He says, oh, your router is slowly cooking over here. So he said, I'm going to run out to the warehouse. I'll be back about 45 minutes. He runs out to the warehouse, and he comes back and he says, well, I got bad news and I got good news. I says, well, give me the bad news first. He said, there were none of your router and Wi-Fi units in the warehouse. I said, oh, great. He says, oh, no. He says, I have the newest router and Wi-Fi unit that was just released, and it only goes to new installs. I said, well, if it only goes to new installs, how am I going to get this? He goes, I made a judgment call. He says, I'm giving you this equipment. I was like, oh, okay, free of charge. I'm not going to argue. He hooks it up and he says, something still ain't right here. He goes down in the basement. There's a box in the basement where the cable comes in from the house and then it comes up. He goes, the box is bad too. But I got one on the truck. So he goes down. We did a speed test. I'm over a gig. It's amazing to watch that needle on that speed test. So I said, you're not going to get in any trouble for this, are you? He goes, oh, no. My supervisor will back me. He said, the sales department will bitch me out. But he said, screw them. He said, I'm doing this for a loyal customer. So as he was leaving, I took the $20 bill in his pocket and thanked him. So, boy, matter of fact, I did a speed test first thing this morning. I did one like around noon. I did one like around 3 o'clock. Matter of fact, the router and the Wi-Fi unit don't even look like my old equipment. The new router is tall and skinny, and my Wi-Fi unit looked like a small router. This thing looks like a cone. It's kind of cone-shaped, flat on top, big blue light on the front that tells me it's operational. I like looking at it. But that Jose, man, I'll tell you what. He made a judgment call. He goes, hey, I'll get my ass chewed out. My supervisor got my back. No big deal. He says, I don't know why the sales department will bitch. We're keeping a customer happy. He said, that's the object of my job. Keep the customer happy. Do what you need to do to satisfy the customer. I said, boy, kids like you are few and far between. And he said, I learned it from my father. My father is a traveling salesman, and he preached that constantly growing up. Make people happy. He made me happy. And the best part, he programmed it to my old password. I was like, oh, God, now I got to learn a new goddamn... Because if you look on the back end of that goddamn Wi-Fi unit, the password is a letter and a number and some kind of sign, and then another letter and a number, and then one's capitalized, one's small. Oh, I'd end up throwing something at the goddamn TV if I had to program that shit in. But I'll tell you, I was with AT&T for 15 years. And in 15 years, I didn't get the kind of service I get from Spectrum. Once they sign you up, you're a number. That's it. They don't care. As a friend of mine said, you're an auto pay. They know they're getting their money because they're taking it right out of your account, whether you're happy or not. And boy, I'll tell you, when I left, mainly because I couldn't get the 1 gig down here, oh, they begged me, all kinds of deals. Oh, I said, I'm at 1 gig, and you want to give me, it was like 50 meg. I said, 50 meg? I'd be lucky to power one goddamn computer. And for the price that I'm paying, it's obscene. Although, you know, they told me sooner or later you're going to have to pay full price. I said, well, with me, it's going to be later. Because when this contract comes due, they're going to be giving me a discounted price again, or I'm going. That one guy tells me, well, you know, sooner or later you're going to have to pay full price. I said, yeah, sooner or later you'll lose a customer. I don't care. There's all kinds of internet providers out there begging for my business. Of course, once they get my business, they could care less. Except for Spectrum. I'll tell you what. You call, and basically you only have to push one number. Because after it's got an AI answering, but it says, do you want sales or tech support? And sales covers customer service as far as your bill and that. Push 1 for this, 2 for that. You push 2, a live person answers. And you communicate with live people after that. And another thing I like about Spectrum is as soon as the service call was assigned to Jose, they sent me a text message, told me who my service person would be, and how long it would take him to get to me. They said an hour. He was here about 45 minutes. Very neatly dressed. Name badge, right, obvious, soon as Jose. And I'll tell you what, anybody I have dealt with has been great. I've only had to have service out here, physically here, twice. Now, yesterday makes 3 times. The first 2 times, it was something with the box in the basement. This time, it was the router and the Wi-Fi unit. A lot of problems, they cure over the phone. You know, they sit down at their computer. So I'm happy again. And I'm really happy because the judge signed the order of sale for the 3 vehicles that are basically in limbo. Authorizing Bill to sign for the non-existent corporation of International Exotics, Inc. So I fired off an email to the attorney, and I didn't get a call back yet, although she was probably busy in court all day. I'm getting closer to owning it. Because I got shit to do. I got tires to put on. I got a window to get fixed. I got a key that I need programmed and cut. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was gonna go up today and get the tires put on, and I was like, let's own it first. Let's have that piece of paper in your hand that says you own it. And now when I go for a drive out of my neighborhood, my blood pressure won't be climbing. It's like watching, these police stop videos. I've noticed a lot of people that refuse to hand over their driver's license. They swear up and down they don't have to. They can show it, but they don't have to give it. Well, I did a little research. You don't own that driver's license. It's property of the state. And all 50 states are the same way. You must hand that license over because it is state property, not your personal. And people don't realize this. Now, most licenses will say on the back, property of the state. When they revised the Ohio license, the new ones don't say it, but I'm sure it's in that goddamn zip strip on the back. Because that strip has got all kinds of information on it. Because they have zipped it at the hospital. Every now and then they ask me for an ID and then they zip it. And I asked them, why are you, well, it's got all your information we can verify. But they won't tell you what all's in there. You're paying for the privilege. You're paying for the privilege. You're basically leasing that driver's license, if you come right down to it. You make one lease payment every 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. Yeah, you're leasing it. You don't own it. You're leasing it. The state is allowing you to hold on to it. But it's not yours. Even though it's got your name and picture, it's not yours. And, we got to keep the big officials in the Capitol, in their new cars and their fancy desks and all their aides, That's where your money goes, Oh, some goes to the paychecks of the BMV workers. Yeah, you're leasing or renting that driver's license for, in Ohio, mine every 4 years. My sister did hers for 8. But they don't allow seniors the 8-year. It's 4. Matter of fact, they were trying to pass legislation for anybody over 70 every 2 years. Luckily, that went down the sewer. Well, nothing so far. The judge signed the order allowing Bill to sign as International Exotics Inc. proprietor or whatever. It's being added to his administrator's letter. I mean, like the Corvette was titled in his father's name. He could sign that off right now. With the goddamn Passat being in that phony corporation that the attorney missed. So now that this has been added to this administrator's letter, we can go to the title bureau and he can sign the back of it as the seller. And then it gets transferred to me. And it'll finally be mine. Legally. It was scary putting repair money into a vehicle that I could have impounded and never see again. No, tires aren't going on until I own it. I ain't taking no chance. Last minute, some cop pulled me over and go, "Oh, those are phony license plates. Hello, tow truck, come get it." At least, if that happened, I could sell the tires. I just take them up to the tire shop and say, "Hey, I can't use these. They're brand spanking new. Give me some money." So we're this close now. We're this close. And then I find out the goddamn guy that's been taking care of the house where the Corvette is parked lost all the fucking keys. He lost the keys to the front door, side door, gate, lock, lost them. He don't know what he did with them. Because I still haven't got close enough to that thing to do a 360 walk around. Yeah, I called Bill. I said, the weather's really been nice. I'd like to look the Corvette over. He says, "Well, you can look it over. Call Matt." I said, "Who's Matt?" "Well, he's the guy that's cleaning out the house and literally taking care of it." I said, "Okay." I called Matt and I said, "Hey, Bill said I can get a look at the Corvette and take some pictures." He said, "Well, there's a problem." I said, "What's the problem?" He said, "I was over at the house on Wednesday." Okay. I locked the house up. I locked the gate. Okay. I lost the keys. I said, "You did what?" I lost the keys. I said, well, call a locksmith, asshole. Locksmith come out, make keys. Well, you know what a locksmith will charge me? I said, well, you lost them. Well, I'm trying to retrace my steps. Okay, here's my number. Call me when you got keys. Or I says, I'll come over with my bolt cutters and cut that lock off the gate myself. If it isn't one thing, it's another.
Wow!
That's what I said. So I called Bill and I said, guess what? Matt lost the keys to the house. He said, what? I said, yep. He lost the key ring. He said, did you tell him to call a locksmith? I said, yeah, and he's too cheap. He said, well, if you don't find the keys by the end of the week, I'm calling a locksmith. Good. I said, do you know where the Corvette keys are? He said, yeah. They're with me, safe. Good. This car's a jinx already. It's starting to scare me already. Then I called around for junk price for the RAV4. Man, I'll tell you what, the price of scrap has gone down. You know, in January, the highest offer was $705 for a 97 RAV4. $455 is the highest offer I've got. So I guess it's time to get my ass moving, stripping the rest of the stuff off of it and get it ready to go. Because that $455 will end up going in the Corvette for repairs. I already know that. I'm anticipating about $2,000 or more. Although, I'm going to kind of draw the line at what I spend on fixing that car. If it's too bad, I'll flip it and get rid of it and find me something else. Although I really want that Corvette. All right. Look what I've got invested in the Passat. I got $3,000 in that car. Now, I couldn't buy it for that in the condition that it's in, because I've seen what $3,000 and $4,000 will buy, and it's junk. I mean, I've got a car here that does not have one rust spot on it, which is amazing for a car that's 25 years old. So, yeah, I bitch about every time I've got to repair something, but I look at it from the point I couldn't buy that car in this shape for $3,000. No way. So, I mean, part of the good thing is the Corvette is an American vehicle. And a lot of standard Chevy parts will fit. Where, I'm ordering parts basically for an Audi A4. Because they start out on the same assembly line. The drivetrain and the floor pan come down the line, and then whichever one is serialized as an Audi, there's like a Y in the assembly line. I've seen pictures. The floor pan comes down. If it's an Audi, it goes to the right. And if it's a Volkswagen Passat, it goes to the left. But the underpinnings and the whole drivetrain, minus the body, is Audi. The only difference in the engine is that what they call beauty cover that they stick on top of it. Otherwise, if I go to a boneyard and I can't find an '01 VW Passat, I look for an '01 Audi A4. And the mechanical parts are identical. But you're paying the Audi price for the parts. Although I have found a Volkswagen overstock warehouse that I get parts really discounted. But see, the average poor sap that's relying on a repair garage, that was like the power booster. If I would have bought that from Volkswagen, it was $706. I paid $225, which I thought was steep until I looked at like AutoZone. They wanted $380 or $360. So, I've lucked out finding facilities I can get parts cheap, and I lucked out with a repair garage that lets me bring my own parts. Because any other repair garage, they make money off the part. Say the part lists for $300, they may pay $210. They're going to put it on the bill at $300 because that's their profit. So they get you on the parts and they get you on the labor. Where with Ryan's, I come in with my part and I get discounted labor rate. Whatever, all I do is bring the part in and say, how much They'll say 110, 120, 130. Okay, put it on. Because I know if I went to Volkswagen, I don't even want to think of what it would cost me to fix that car. I was talking to a guy up at the Indian store the other day. He's got a 14 Cadillac, oh, whatever the big one is, although they're not like they used to be. And a week and a half ago, it was like halfway in the middle of the driveway. And I'm thinking to myself, why did you park like that? Well, he started it up and it quit. So I ran into him the other day and I asked him what happened. And he said the fuel pump went out. I said, oh, I can almost imagine what that cost. He said, yeah, parts and labor, $28.50. $2,850 to put a fucking fuel pump in that goddamn Cadillac. Although he had to tow the Cadillac. I says to him, I says, you know that little garage down the road, Ryan's, right next to the high school? He said, yeah, I drive past it all the time. I said, take your car there. Can they work on that Cadillac? I said, they work on anything. And they're a hell of a lot cheaper than taking it to Cadillac. As a matter of fact, when you go in, tell them Grumpy sent you. And they'll take good care of you. Because they exclusively work on my car. And I said, even though it says Volkswagen Passat, it's an Audi A4. Almost $3,000 for a goddamn fuel pump. In a 14. The car's, what, 12 years old? I mean, the old man, he's a few years older than me, keeps that car like brand spanking new. I mean, it's always, I think that car gets car washed every day. But, and he's retired. Now, I don't know where he worked. He might have Social Security and a pension. He might have a big savings account. That's highway robbery. But the newer the car, the harder they are to work on. I've found that out. You know, it's amazing the difference between my 97s and this '01. I will not own anything newer than 25 years. And I'll tell you what, the cutoff might be '01. Because I look at some of these newer cars, holy shit. And the only way you can work on this new shit is you got to have at least a $3,000 scanner. That at $3,000. That is basically the bottom end. You buy anything any cheaper, it won't diagnose what needs to be diagnosed. Some of these scanners are like $10,000. But that's the only way you can work on these cars. You plug it into a computer, oh, okay, this, and this. That's like my buddy's son's BMW. I don't know if it's a 6 Series or 8 Series or... It cost him like $800 for an oil change. I says to him, don't you have a jack, some jack stands, a drain pan? You change your own oil. He said, well, yeah, I could. But there is a special tool. Matter of fact, I looked it up. It basically looks something like this. And it plugs in under the dash to reset the oil change monitor. Otherwise, if you change your oil, it's still flashing oil change needed, oil change needed, oil change needed. That tool is only sold to dealers. The average schmuck can't buy that tool because the design has not been released to the aftermarket. And if you change your own oil, you think you're going to drive up to the BMW dealer and say, hey, can you plug your tool in and I did it in my driveway? Oh, no. Yeah, well, with this, I don't know. Whatever BMW it is, in the sedan, it's the top of the line, big fucking monster. You can't do anything manually because it'll keep flashing oil change now, oil change now, oil change or change oil now. Goddamn blinking light on the dash. Change your oil. That sensor don't know it's new oil. Even though, from what I'm told, there's a sensor in the oil pan that reads the consistency of the oil. So it should say brand new oil. No. Because I asked him, I said, what if you go up to, we got this, there's some fast, quick oil change joint up the street. I don't know if it's Pennzoil. It's one of these quickie oil change joints. You can't go there because they can't reset the light either. He's forced to take it to the dealer. But $800 for an oil change? What's the oil got? Titanium in it or gold or what? Is that oil filter made of gold foil lining or? But see, the manufacturers are building these cars to prevent the backyard mechanic from working on them. They don't want me touching your car. That's another reason I won't own anything basically newer than an '01. Because I can still do 80% of the work. I change my own oil, I can change my brakes, I can repair certain things, change plugs. Because luckily, the scanner that I own works on the Passat. Reads all the codes for me. I went in, I printed off a sheet with all the codes. So if it throws like a P401, I just look on the sheet and go, airbox sensor. Okay. Yeah, I printed. Although I'm OCD about I have a folder. As a matter of fact, in the glove box was a stack of paperwork. Basically, up until Jim bought the car. And I don't believe Jim did anything as far as repair work. But I found a stack of receipts. I've got them in a folder. Anything that I've done to the car since I bought it is in the folder. I got records of everything. I even have a couple of sheets in there. Well, they're off a legal pad, and I just write in, oil change, this, that, I'll put in tires, date, mileage. I should put them in I should buy one of them steno notebooks. Matter of fact, I think I'll do that. I've got to go up to Staples anyway. I think I'll get a steno book. And that way I can keep that right in the glove box. Because I'm a fanatic about record keeping. Like this court case. I printed off everything. Every legal document pertaining to the vehicles. I printed everything off. As a matter of fact, there is the recent today order that the judge signed releasing the cars for sale. Because this is all going to go to the title bureau. I don't want no bullshit when I go to the title bureau. I'm going to say, here's all the court paperwork. Right here. There's an order right there, signed by the judge, saying Bill can sign the back of that title. Notarize it, let's go. I got shit to do. I have to get over to the License Bureau, get a temp tag, then come back, transfer the title, and when I got the title transferred, order my license plates. Because it will say on there previous license number. There's the temporary tag number. And then I will get my official WDWL TV Ohio license plate. Because I'm going to remove the signs off the door because I got new decals that are fancier that say WDWL TV. Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, my uncle, he had it looked like a court, something you would see in court. It was some sort of and it was cloth bound. It looked like a docket book almost, and everything for that farm went into that book. I mean, if he went up to the general store and bought a box of nails, it was in there. Date, box of nails, Clem's General Store, $3, you know. Take your checkbook. That's going to be an expensive day. I know what it's going to cost me to get the title transferred and get plates. My uncle had, it was basically a square metal box. He bought it at, I don't know, the general store. It was a square metal box with a snap latch. And every receipt went in that box. Because at tax time, you had to have receipts for everything you were claiming. People think IRS are bastards today. They were just as bad back then. And he would go to a tax preparer and he'd take that box and there were receipts. At the end of the year, he would just take that stack of receipts and rubber band them and put a piece of paper that would say, like, 1957. So when they opened that box, he had receipts going back a godzillion years. And that ledger book. Like I say, it looked like something you would, because court books were always, you know, they had a cloth outside on them. Because I remember our docket books were huge. And they were all cloth and leather. I don't know where he got that ledger book from. But that and that metal box were always in the bottom bureau drawer in his bedroom. Because he would buy gas by the tank full. Every farmer back in the day had a big fuel tank that probably held maybe 200 gallons up on stanchions because it was siphon feed. And that they would buy in bulk because they got a good discount, and they're... I know he had two tanks. One was like what they called farm gas. He didn't have to pay road use tax on it. And I don't know how they differentiated the difference between farm gas and regular gas. Because he would fill his car from one, and we would fill all the agricultural equipment from the other. Now, gas was gas. You could put either one in your car, but there was some way of them telling it was farm gas in your car. Because diesel fuel... Because I remember when diesel tractors were starting to become very popular, diesel fuel had a red dye in it. That was farm diesel. If you got caught with that in your truck, holy shit. Your truck would get impounded, you'd get fined, because the red diesel didn't have road use tax because it was for agricultural equipment. But my uncle had two big gas things up on stanchions. And one said farm on it, and the other one said gas. But they were both gas. I don't know how they told the difference. Maybe. I never looked. All I was told, if you got to put gas in your car, use the one that says gas. Don't use that one that says farm. I never looked. Maybe there was a dye in it, like the diesel fuel. All I know is he had two big tanks up on stanchions. And it just fed by siphon. And they were side by side, but one said farm, and the other one said gas. Because every now and then he'd tell me, hey, fill your tank. Okay. Although I was driving a little English Ford, I think it had a 8-gallon gas tank on it. Maybe 10. Didn't cost that much for gas back in the day anyway, but a free tank, I wasn't turning it down. Because all of his agricultural, farm equipment back in the day was gas powered. I think the combine that he bought had a diesel in it. Yeah, because he had 3 tanks. They had to bring in another one. Brr. And that was a smaller one because he only had one implement that took diesel. And the combine only got used once a year. Unless another farmer borrowed it. Because the combine had a corn head on it. Oh, wait. He did have two heads. Because one year he would do corn. Now, wait a minute. Originally, he did 60 acres of corn. Then, when I was like 16, he did 30 acres of corn and 30 acres of soybeans. And he had to have two heads for the combine because you couldn't use a corn head on soybeans. Because I only got to drive that combine 1 year. And I harvested corn. No. This farm wasn't, it was 100 acres. Yeah, 50 and 50. Yeah, it was 100 acres. Why do I say 60? His farm was 100 acres. And for years, it was 100 acres of corn. And then he split half and half. He did 50 acres of corn and 50 acres of soybeans. But I only ran that John Deere. No, it wasn't a John Deere. It was a Case IH, or it was it was a red one. It wasn't a green. It was a red combine. I only drove that 1 year. Yeah. And if the diesel had a dye in it, I don't know because I never looked. You know, all I would do is open up the thing, stick the nozzle in, full, okay, close it up. But I know the diesel, I was told, had a red dye. And if you put it in your diesel truck and ODOT would check your fuel, if they dipped down in your tank and it came up red, you were shit out of luck. But if the gasoline was dyed too, I didn't take the chance. I didn't put no farm gas in my car for fear that it would fuck it up. But I know the farm gas was cheaper because it didn't have the road use tax in it. Because technically farm implements didn't go on the road, but they did. You'd have to drive them to the field, but that wasn't considered road use. That's why if I had to go to the general store and pick up the twins, I'd take the old Farmall. Not to mention, there were several years that I didn't have a license yet. Oh, it was cool being 12 years old, driving up to the general store on that tractor and have the sheriff wave. Hi, kids. Hi, Sheriff. Yeah, I can't remember. Now, we're going back in the... All right. Come on, Grumpy. You're bad at math. $51 and 12 would be 63, right? Yeah. So we're talking, when did he buy that combine? It was used. It was used. So I don't know if it was Case or IH or Case IH. I don't remember when they combined. But I would say the combine was probably a 1960. Because I remember my uncle saying it was a couple years old. So it was probably in 1960. But I never got to harvest until I was 17. Now I would move the combine around the farm. It's all too confusing. All I know is it was red. It wasn't green. Although, I'll tell you what, at the general store it was real colorful. Because I would pull in with the Farmall, which was red and white. Another kid would pull in with a Ford, and that was blue. And then another kid would pull in with a John Deere, and that was green. We'd all go to the general store for ice cream. I'd hop on the tractor, go down to Totes Farm, pick up the girls, one on each fender, and then we would go down to the general store. I'll never forget the first time I was out on the road and I see a sheriff's car and I was like, oh, fuck. He beeped and waved. I kind of... And then every time the sheriff went past, I'd, hey, kids, he'd be yelling out the window, hey, kids. Hey, sheriff. Being out on the road, 13, 14 years old, no license. Sheriff go by, beep, beep. Hey, kids. Hey, sheriff. Pull in the general store, there'd be tractors all over the place. All the kids would be back in the corner at the little ice cream area. That was kind of neat, that general store. Had that little ice cream area, soda fountain. Come in and get a cone or a soda or anything. Anything to do with ice cream. Chocolate malt. And one of the girls would have to hold mine on the way back home because tractors didn't have cup holders. God, you look at these tractors nowadays, Jesus Christ. Air-conditioned cabs, cup holders all over the place, stereo, all the comforts of a high-end vehicle. Of course, when you're paying $300,000 for a tractor, yeah, the last time I went to the Lorain County Fair, I was amazed. And I mean, we're talking 1995. And it's amazing from 95 to today what goddamn tractors are like. Yeah, basically all stuff that doesn't drive on the roadways, highways, freeways. So why charge road use tax for something that isn't driving on the main roads? Like I say, you could get away with driving from one field to the other, or driving down to the general store or down to the feed mill, because that wasn't considered road use. But I remember there were two different types of gas. Two big, giant red barrels up on stanchions. One said farm. The other one said gas. Does my uncle have to get out the goddamn ladder, the extension ladder, to climb up and dip that tank to see how much gas was still in the tank. And then he would call down to the feed mill. I need gas. How much you need, Joe? Well, I got 25 gallons left in the tank. Okay, we'll be out. The small gas tanker would come out. Guy'd fill it, top it off. There'd be a meter in the side, printed out a ticket. Take it up, give it to my uncle. And all the farmers went down to the feed mill to pay their bill for gas. Take their ticket with them. A lot of trust back in the day. A lot of trust. I'll say that. Not like today. You call the feed mill. I need gas. I need 175 gallons. Okay, truck would come out, pump it in. Here's your ticket. Go to the feed mill, pay your bill. Nowadays, a credit card in the truck. Pay your bill. Zip. There you go. Like the goddamn Ohio State Trooper cars. You can pay your ticket in the car with a credit card. They zip it in the side of the computer. Yeah, a friend of mine just got a ticket out in Medina. The trooper said, well, you can pay it one of three ways. You can go up to the courthouse and pay it. You can pay it online, or you can pay it right now. Yeah, my buddy was like, how do we do that? You got a credit card? Yeah, I just slide it right here in the laptop. My buddy, here's a trooper went, zick, came up on the screen, approved, printed a receipt. There you go, tickets paid. Be on your way, drive safe, slow down. Well, so if you're getting 87 octane, they're both 87 octane. One just has dye in it. That makes sense. You wouldn't think they'd have a special gas. Yeah, it makes sense. Same gas, one with dye, no tax.
Wow!
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I believe my buddy said, yeah, my son got a ticket by the troopers out in Medina. I said, really? He said, yeah, he paid the ticket in the car. I said, what? Yeah, just ran the credit card through the credit card reader in the laptop. Unbelievable. Although, it's a great idea because out of towners would have the biggest problem paying their tickets. This way, if you live like in Pennsylvania, you can pay your ticket right there in the car, get your receipt, over and done with. Because they don't handwrite tickets anymore either. He just plugs the information in the laptop and hits print. And the ticket comes right out of the printer. Talk about technology. Print your ticket. Oh, you want to pay in the car? Okay, zick. Here, I'll staple them two together for you. I won't charge you for the staple.
Wow!
Have a nice day. Drive safe. Slow down. Although it eliminates a lot of crappy paperwork that the troopers would have to carry with them. No more ticket books. It's all loaded in the laptop. All he does is click speed, 85 in a 70. Yeah. Have a printer in the car, a credit card reader. Everything done in one stop. Here's your ticket. And here's your receipt. There you go. You're on your way. Gee, talking about the state troopers, I should have had my hat. Because I have a Ohio State Trooper hat. I got it from a friend of mine who was a state trooper who forgot to move it, and a woman sat on it. And they're made of straw. So he gave me the crushed hat. And I repaired it with a hot glue gun. Pushed it all back up, put some pins in it to hold it, went on the inside, glue, back to normal. When I was doing funeral escorts, I used to wear it. If I had a long funeral and I'd block an intersection, I'd get out of the car, put on that trooper hat, and nobody screw with it. When you held up traffic and you were wearing a trooper hat, because I had the light gray uniform shirt with the dark gray uniform slacks with the black stripe down the side, just like a state trooper. Now, my escort car was an ex-police vehicle that was all black. People didn't really know the difference. They'd see a guy get out and put on a trooper hat, and they're like, well, we ain't going nowhere. Wait till he waves us through. Because all the escort drivers, we basically look like cops. And since I had the trooper hat, I bought the gray shirt and slacks. And at that time, there was a seamstress who stitched that black stripe on the side of the slacks for me. I got rid of them. Yeah, I got rid of the shirt and the slacks. Kept the hat, though. I'll bring it in tomorrow. I'll put it on and model it. Yeah, my buddy's, his son was pissed. Because, they sit you in the front seat. And his hat was sitting on the front seat. He opened the door, and the woman backed in the car to sit down, and she was like, whoa. She got up, and she went, sorry about your hat. Then he had to go buy a new one. Then when I showed him how I fixed the old one, he was like, give me that back for a spare. I said, no, Indian giver, you gave it to me.
Whippersnapper.
Oh, I got all kinds of shit. When my buddy retired from the sheriff's department, he gave me his badge. Because he bought a spare. When my buddy retired from the detective bureau, he gave me his spare badge and gun. I'll have to dig that out. It's an official Cleveland Police Detective Gold badge. He said, I don't need this here. I said, oh. He said, don't get caught wearing it, you asshole. So I got the sheriff's star. I've got the detective badge. I got his little snub-nosed 38. I got the trooper hat. And on my official police, I've got police and FBI and all kinds of patches mounted on a big felt board that's framed. I have a state trooper insignia patch. I also have a state trooper examiner patch from the people that take you for your driver's test. Oh, I got a shitload of patches. One day I'll have to take a picture of the board. I got FBI patches. I've got, oh, you ought to see the Las Vegas police and Las Vegas police patches are huge, and they have a deck of cards on them. They are the neatest looking patches. The police department with a deck of cards, 4 aces. I think it's 4 aces. Let me look. Hang on. Let me look. Yep, 4 aces. This one says Las Vegas Metro Homicide. Oh, God. I'd love to have one. I would love to have an old antique Tennessee license plate. Oh, I got another. You know me and flashlights. I got this off of eBay, $9. It's got a clip on the back you can put on your belt. It has a swivel head so you can adjust it, and it'll flip out to go at an angle if you need it, and then it goes up and down. And it's got an LED, which is too bright, in here. And then it has a red one. It has a blue one. And it has a red and blue flasher. Very handy. Rechargeable. Small. Has a magnet. So you can stick it while you're looking. It has a belt clip. $9. Rechargeable, USB-C. I love it. Little compact, about the size of a pack of cigarettes. I'm a sucker for flashlights. My newest purchase. I'll tell you what, when I go, there won't be any money, but there will be thousands of dollars worth of tools and about 700 flashlights. With my big mag lights, my small mag lights, all my USB rechargeable. What an estate. A couple $1,000 worth of tools and about $1,000 worth of flashlights. Oh, firefighter plates. Oh, wow. Oh, I got flashlights all over the house. You know, when you get old, I have them on my nightstand. There's one in, as a matter of fact, there's 1 or 2 in every room. Because if, you know, like if the power goes out, you need a light. Then I got the box of mag lights in the storage over here. I got to dig them out. Like I say, I've got, Christ, there's got to be 10 big ones from 2 D-cell to 6 or 7 D-cell. All aluminum mag lights, lifetime guaranteed. Then I've got, let me dig one out. I have them under the desk here. Like this one. This one's a blue one. It's good for detecting refrigerant leaks. I got a green one that's also very good for detecting refrigerant leaks. White ones, red one, and they're all, these are the AA. I was a sucker for mag lights back in the day. I even had, where the hell did I put them? I got this one. This one takes 2 AAAs. And then I have the ones that take 1 AAA. I can't remember where I put them. I got a couple of them. Like I say, me and mag lights go back a long way. Where did I put them small ones? Don't know where. I had them out the other day because I put new batteries in them. Where the hell did I put them? All right, Grumpy, you're losing your marbles. Where'd you put them? I don't know where I put them now. Because there's a red one and a blue one. Oh, there they are. I knew they were around here somewhere. These take 1 AAA battery. Like I say, me and mag lights, irresistible. I'll put them up there with the other one. I have rulers. I've got them from, the 6 foot all the way up to, I think, 100 foot. I worked part-time for a landscaper. And he would call me and say, hey, I got somebody that wants sod put in. I need you to go measure the yard and figure out how much sod. I could never find my goddamn rulers. So I would be on my way to go measure and stop at Home Depot or Handy Andy or Builder Square and buy a new one. When I moved, we found almost every single one, and I have a box full of frickin' rulers. Some of them I used once. Buy a 100-footer, go out, measure a yard, throw it in the car, throw it in the trunk, throw it somewhere, go looking for a ruler, can't find one, gotta go buy another one. I finally gathered them all up and put them in one box, and there must be 30 of them in there. And now I barely have anything to measure. But boy, do I have rulers.
Wow!
Yep. Oh, yeah, especially that 6 or 7 D cell. That sucker's about 24 inches long. Police used to carry it. You'd get a whole whack on the noggin with one of them. And then police departments banned them. You know, you could kill somebody with that mag light. Yeah, the big 4 or 5 or 6 D cell, those were weapons. I'll dig them out one day. I got a box full of them, all different sizes. Like I say, my estate will be tools and flashlights and cameras. Oh, man, me and cameras. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right here, 8 DSLR cameras. 8. And I think I have a couple in my bedroom. Of course, you know, back in the 70s, I did freelance photography work for 5 different automotive magazines. I'd go to the car shows, so I needed cameras. And they couldn't be cheapy pieces of crap. And you know, it's like with cell phones. I'd buy a camera and 6 months later a newer version had come out. Oh, buy that one. Of course, back in the day, I was making the money to pay for. So they're all paid for, but I hardly use them. I keep them all charged up with brand new batteries. Well, if I need brand new batteries, I mean, I keep them all charged. And I do use them. You know, yeah, like when that big 10-point buck was out in the backyard. I went out with the DSLR, click, click, you know. But I can't just buy one of anything. Got to have 2 or 3 or 4. And like, you know, like with this flashlight. I need this like I need a hole in the head. But I've never seen a flashlight as handy as this designed like this. And the price was reasonable. So I bought it. I'm going to put it in the Passat, along with the other 3 flashlights that are in the Passat. Even Ryan said one day, how come you need so many flashlights? In case one goes dead. I keep them all charged up. That's a rare thing, one going dead. The walking belly is here. The walking belly. I know. Feed me, feed me, feed me. Don't stretch on my leg. He was getting ready to... No. The walking belly. I need to find a clip from that movie. There's got to be a sound clip somewhere. Feed me. Although nowadays people don't know what the hell. Feed me. I need that clip. I need it for a sound effect.
That's it. I'm through.
All right, people. We're going to get out of here. I got dinner to make. I have a walking belly to feed. Oh, come on. This tablet is really acting up tonight. All right, everybody. It's been another fun night. We know where, right here, WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. And with that, everybody take care. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Bye-bye. See ya.